never want to send out, like, if she says good, you don't want to be like, oh my God, you're doing good? Oh wow, because I was doing great yesterday. You don't want to do all that, right? Because girls keep track of that too. Right?
Okay, so in that same sense, you send out your huge email, and all she responds is carrot sticks.
I leave it alone. I'll reply back later on. Maybe I'll say a funny thing about this, right? So at some point in time, you may have to go back and think what you did wrong in that interaction. Because there's something known as a solid close, and if you don't have that from the beginning, sometimes it really doesn't matter what you say. All this text message and phone game is to essentially save you when the interaction didn't go right. So nowadays, I want to be talking to a girl and have a good vibe with her, where I could send her a text message that says, blah, 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 and she'll respond back and be like, what happened? What are you talking about? And she'll be like so into what I said because I built so much rapport from her and had so much comfort with her from the beginning. That's the idea.
You qualify who you want to be with based on asking you specific questions before we take you out, and we actually put you in places where you're going to meet the girls that you want to meet. Because if you ever read a book called Who Read the Game here? Most guys in this room, right? I realized something. Most of the guys in the game, they didn't have jobs. That's how they were able to pick up girls so well, because they had all this time on their hands. Being in the right place at the right time is like half the battle here, as you guys know if you've been out already. I can say proudly that I've had many successes in doing this whole game thing. So because of that, I expect an interaction to go well. We put you in places where you're going to have 20 interactions, and I can tell you that most of them are going to go well. So pretty much the next time around, you're going to expect for the next interaction to go well. Bottom line by me saying all this is that confidence comes through practice. You guys actually have to do this stuff over and over and over again. That's why I gave you this information at the beginning about what I do, is because I was able to do this over and over and over again and figure out what worked. Were to walk into a pitch black room and someone were to light a candle, the first thing you see is the light. It reminds you to have light, fun conversation with people in the room. You don't have to talk to everybody in the room, but for me, I strategically talk to different people. And I have to mention this point right here, guys. We have a dating mastery course, and we have King course and laws of the game, and we go into this in a lot more detail. Right now, you can consider what I'm giving you the cliff notes, okay? So we're going in with light, fun conversation. We're talking to girls, guys, hot people, ugly people. We're just talking to everybody, essentially. And when we find that person that we do want to talk to, we're going to the next level. We're moving to a deeper level. The deeper level is talking about travel, work, hobbies. For example, I'll say like, yeah, sweetie, like, I was just wondering if you could travel anywhere in the world with a guy for a week, where would you go? And I'm engaging her with questions like that. I'm finding out things about her. I'm seeing different sides of her. For example, work, I'm saying, okay, I'm cool, you work like as a waitress, but what are you really passionate about? Like, I know you want to do this and that, but what do you really want to do? Going to other levels, having a normal conversation. You can consider this the gray area, the smoke of the flame. You're talking about things that you can talk about to anybody with. So I'm talking about hobbies. I'm saying like, what would you do for fun? Like, what if you could do anything in the city that you haven't done before, what would it be? As a flame heats up, you get to the yellow, the red, you're talking about deeper things. I have to mention at any point in this flame of attraction model, you want to break comfort. I like to break it at a certain time, but you can do it at any time. It's extremely important. So I'm talking about now in the red, the yellow, the emotions, relationships, and family. Now guys, when I say emotions, I'm not saying like dump all your sadnesses on her and talk about how the world gave you a raw deal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about relating it to her. I'm finding out when she traveled, like, did she feel like exhilarated? Was it adventurous? Find things that you like to do that were adventurous. Talk about that. You may like rock climbing. Talk about how when you went rock climbing, it was so much fun and your heart was pounding. You want to relate that to her feelings. Now, something that guys do a lot that they don't, when they don't get this stuff, is they think like they can just ask the girl like, hey, you like to cook, right? She's like, yeah. And you're like, me too. And you're like, yeah, you like to ride bikes through the city, like motorcycles? She's like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, me too. It's not just saying me too, me too, me too. It's really relating to her. The next thing is family, I mentioned, right? Family. Now, I don't want to just talk about how many brothers and sisters she has, because really I can ask anybody that. What I'm trying to do is find out if she has a good relationship with her mother, her father, because her guardians, because this saved me a lot of time because I had access to a lot of different girls, and now I can find out if she has daddy issues very quickly and move on if she does, because I really didn't want a girl like that. I've had girls like that before, and it was like completely draining. So the next thing is relationships. I save this for last because it's important. You can talk about this at any time, but it's not talking about like if she has a boyfriend or not. It's essentially handling logistics. You want to handle logistics by saying something like this: hey, who are you here with? Perhaps at night. Finding out like what friend she's here with, just in case I need to send her friends home in a taxi cab in order for her to come to my house, for us to go to her house, or in some cases that I could have sex in the VIP room if I wanted to. Like but I knew that I had to handle logistics. There was only 3 places, so I had to figure this stuff out. So this is where I like to break rapport. You go to the blue part of the flame, right? The blue part, is my flame still up? It is. The blue part of the flame. You want to talk about sex. Something that guys want to talk about. You have to engage the girl, but she definitely wants to talk about it. So how do I do this? Like I said, I like to break comfort at this point in time because it works something like this, right? I could be talking to a girl, I should be like, hey sweetie, I love the fact that like you're talking about work, and like I love the fact that like you have a great relationship with your parents, and like you're really passionate about like everything that's going on, but I couldn't help but notice like you didn't even see this, but like every 5 seconds I've been staring at your ass. Like, wow, you have a cute ass. Like, wow, I'm gonna smack your butt. Wow, that's a cute butt. And I'll do that and I'll break rapport, but then I'll go even further. And then I'll talk about like somebody else on the dance floor. I'll be like, look at that guy over there. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just disgusting, right? Like, he must be like really bad in bed. Like, what do you think? And she'll, yes, no, doesn't matter. And I'll ask her like, yeah, what's good sex to you? Talk about sex. The next thing is the black part of the flame, the wick. It reminds me that I need to somehow interrelate commitment. And I'm not talking about, it's okay, I think you guys got it, right? I'm not talking about being in a committed relationship where I'm her boyfriend with her. What I'm talking about is getting the kiss. Because I don't want you guys going out on day 2s or like thinking that you can show like your potential girlfriend, like take her to dinner, the movies, like dancing, like to like meet your friends, meet your parents, and not have kissed her yet. Because if you don't kiss her, then she may not have decided if she likes you or not. So you want to get that out of the way as soon as possible. Really what it is above all what I teach guys is I want to restore the balance of power. Typically when you see a girl at night, when I was working in the club industry, there'd be this girl that's like all dressed up, really nice, and like she's like the eye candy of the room and everything else, and everybody's looking at her. So like we're thinking of this great line to say to her, and we're already investing in her. So we've got to change that around, restore the balance of power. So we do have to talk to her, but as soon as possible, I want to level things out. I don't necessarily want to neg, but I want her to invest in me. I want to restore that balance of power. I've seen some really like decent guys go home with some really ugly chicks, and they're called naturals. What I teach here is I develop you into a structured natural, a natural who knows what he's doing, who can focus and decide where he wants to take things. Instead of like how I see most natural guys, I came in contact with a lot of club promoter guys that were like really aggressive, didn't know what they were doing. They'd throw everything at a girl until it sticks in order to like make something work. And they were just all over the place, they were flailing. So I'm giving you a structured way to be able to do this like the first time is to train. Particularly I like 2-on-1. Where I have multiple female partners. So when we take you out and we do what you would call a one-on-one, it's a girl and a guy. Now, the guy is usually me, but what happens is the female doesn't, I see a lot of stuff out there where there's like girls teaching pickup, and I have to say I'm like against that whole thing. I don't really think that it's right for a girl to tell you how to approach and talk to another girl, because there's something that a lot of females, they don't understand. That's like, they don't understand the thoughts and feelings of a guy and what he's going through when he's doing this. But a female can offer the opinions of the female's response when you're talking. It's not the opener, it's the transition afterwards. Because I asked a lot of girls if they even remember the first thing I said to them, and in most cases they're like, no. Most cases, they don't remember the first thing. It's the content of the conversation afterwards that matters. So we teach you how to build the conversation using things like flame of attraction and a lot of other models we have too. But essentially what you want to do is escalate quickly throughout the conversation. And that's what I teach. It's the quick escalation.